All right, picking up in this second video, we are right where we left off. So we're going to hit the create button, and that is going to launch us into the assessment area. And this is where you would be doing the majority of your work, creating an assessment for your students. Here at the beginning, you see an instructions box, and this is where you can type as much or as little as you want for your students. You see all of the standard editing tools that you would see in working with a Schoology page or Schoology folder or a discussion board. All of those same options are here. So you can add an image or media of some kind of table, whatever you want, you can add to the instructions area. Then we're going to scroll down and work through each of these different settings that you have. First, you have assessment settings. Some of these are all in their default modes, yeses and nos. So the first setting is assessment has a time limit. By default, that is off. You can toggle that to yes, and you'll notice this box opened up on how many minutes students have to complete an assessment. So if I wanted this to just be something really short and they are limited to 15 minutes, I can toggle that to yes and set the amount of minutes that they have to complete the assessment. I'm going to turn that back off. Assessment questions are randomly ordered. By default, no. If this is a quiz or a test, my recommendation is you toggle this to yes. That means in a larger class where you have two students sitting pretty close together, the chances that each of those students are on the same question at the same time are very, very slim. They can't be sort of working through it, question one, question two, question three, and having any kind of sharing of answers going on there. If you hit yes, your questions will be in totally different order for every student who takes the assessment. Now, if you are using the assessment tool for an in-class activity, so you have an article that your students are reading and they're doing some reading comprehension questions to go along with the text, and you have them working with a partner or in a small group, you probably do not want those questions in a random order so that the two students working together are seeing the questions in the correct order. They're in the correct order with the text that they are analyzing and working with. So you do have that option between yes and no with randomly ordering the questions in your assessment. You also have the option, and by default, it is on with this setting to show points possible for each question during the attempt. So if you have a matching question with 8 matches and you made that worth eight points, your students would be able to see that if you have that toggled on. The next area is the assessment toolbar. This is something that your students have access to during their assessment, and they're all toggled off to begin with. So just going to talk you through these. I recommend, if you want to see exactly what they're going to look like, toggle them on. And you can always use the preview button up here at the top of your screen to see what that is going to look like for your students. First option here is students can flag questions for review. If you toggle this on, at the end of an assessment, students, when they are finished, will click to submit, and they are given a review screen where they can see kind of an overview of the assessment before they do the final submit to their teacher. If you allow them to flag questions for review, that is where they would see this. So if they're really struggling with a question on the test, they can flag that question to come back to it at the end, give themselves some time to think about it. And when they hit that first submit button and it goes to the review screen, any questions they flagged will be listed for them to go back to and review before they submit their assessment to you, the instructor. Students can eliminate answer choices, also a powerful tool for some of our struggling learners, some of our students with IEPs, our Ls. Allowing them to eliminate answer choices can be a powerful option, so you can toggle that on as well. There are a few math-specific tools that are able to be embedded in a Schoology assessment. So students can use a calculator, a ruler, or a protractor during their attempt, all toggled off. You'll notice for calculator, it has yes, a basic calculator, or yes, a scientific calculator. So there are 2 calculator options to toggle on. With ruler, because Schoology is a worldwide tool used in other countries than the United States, you can set that to centimeters or to inches, and it gives them a virtual ruler during their assessment. And then protractor is simply on or off. The next option here is going to be covered in a separate video, but students can use text-to-speech toolbar with screen masking during attempt, and this will be covered in another video. Students can highlight text. That will give them the option, if they are reading a paragraph of information, to highlight parts of the text to make it pop out and stand out to them. That is something only they would see, but it is a tool that you can give your students. And then also students can use a notepad. It can be toggled on or off. And then at the bottom of your screen, you will see allow students to view results after an attempt is submitted. By default, that is no, but you can toggle that to yes or yes with correct answers. And the difference here is, with just a simple yes, after a student has submitted an assessment and it has been graded, they can open it up and see which questions they got correct and which questions they got incorrect. But they cannot see what the correct answer is if it's just on yes. If you allow your students to retake assessments, you might want to consider just the yes option. If you are not allowing them to retake an assessment, yes with correct answers, so they can see where they went wrong and what the correct answer would have been. So a couple options there for after they submit their assessment. Number of attempts students can submit. By default, it is one time. You can take this up to as many as 20 attempts. So if you do allow your students to retake assessments, you can set this to 2 times or 3 times or however many times you want, so that they can do an assessment over again, or an assessment type activity over again. And finally, once you are happy with your settings, you click Save, and it's going to take us to the next section of our workshop, which will be working with adding questions to our lessons.